a short also introduction of Rakawin. Rakawin was involved in very early in her youth in the Thai student movement and community organizations, as well as in the trade union movement. In 1992, she undertook a study on the working conditions of women row house subcontracted garment workers in Thailand. And she helped organize non-formal education opportunities for the young women garment workers through negotiations with employers and local government officials. She became the coordinator, and she was one of the founders and coordinators of the HomeNet Thailand, which was established in 1998 and has been on its board since 2000 until today. She has been a part of the Uyghur organizational and representation program since during 2002 to 2004 in its advisory committee. And in 2004, she joined the ILO and is currently a program officer of the ILO Regional Office for Asia Pacific. Her work at the ILO has focused a lot on the informal economy and labor migration, and her knowledge and insight in the informal workers' rights and conditions have influenced her for moving the ILO work forward in this field. This is the introduction to our prominent panelists, and now I will ask them a couple of questions, and I will start with Rakawin, and Rakawin will make her presentation, and then I will go over to Renanaven. So Rakawin, the questions I have for you are, when and what was the starting point of the first regional network of home-based workers in Southeast Asia, and how did it grow? And what were the most important common issues, and how was support and resources secured? So over to you, Rakawin.
I would like to convey my greetings to all of you, and congratulations also for this very fruitful HomeNet International Congress. I am very proud to be part of it, and would like to share some of my insights, which has been part of my life for the past 20 years. The HomeNet Southeast Asia was formed by Lucy Lasso since 1992 under the project of ILO Rural Home Workers, which was operated from Bangkok. And she was able to form the what we call home-based workers network in Southeast Asia, which including Indonesia, Philippines, and Thailand. And now, so then the project came to an end in 1995, I think, and we decided in the last meeting, I remember in Chiang Mai, that we would continue this collaboration, whatever it takes, though we don't know also who is going to support us and what are we going to do together. Anyway, everybody went back home, and try to really continue our movement in the country. And we didn't really plan anything ahead. I came back to Thailand, and I also tried to consolidate our network in Thailand. And we were able to somehow get some support that we did not expect, but it came true. It was fortunate that in 1997 I was invited. I think 3 of us were invited to Seva meeting, and it was really a very eye-opening opportunity for us to learn how the home-based workers will organize, and what kind of foundation that SEWA had, as an asset. And one of the striking and very inspiring for me in particular was your ideology and your conviction, your position to stand with the poor, the working poor, especially the women. So I think I brought that back to Thailand, and but at the same time, during that meeting also, we all decided that the meeting decided that they are going to form this HomeNet International, and all the existing movement is going to become affiliate to this HomeNet International at that time. So with that, we started to establish our relation, our cooperation, and of course, our resource mobilization as well. So when it comes to the key issues at that time was that we have in common were the economic rights of the workers, labor rights, and so on, and also the lack of organization, the invisibilities of the home-based workers. But for the organizer and for the network, people like us, who are intellectual, middle class, and so on, we know that we have to help all these home-based workers, but we don't have the knowledge. So we don't know the definition, we don't know how to organize them, we don't know how they can access the labor rights, social rights, and what kind of organization it can be. So I think we also have to learn from scratch. But I would say again that we were very grateful with SEWA, that SEWA has set some kind of good practice and a platform for exchange of knowledge and learning for us during that time. So in terms of the support that we got, we again, I kept telling people in my organization that we started with 2,000 US dollars as a movement in Thailand. However, which came from the church organization that I belong at that time. Then we got about 30,000 from HomeNet International when HomeNet International was formed at the very early days. And afterward, when we registered the organization in 1998, we got a lot of support from ILO, from UNIFEM, from FES, and from many local foundations. So this is the first sharing, Barbara, and I think you can continue with the second question.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yes, I would also like to know what you think are the lessons learned in view of the new HomeNet now being set up, and which are the challenges, and what were the victories, the great victories and achievements?
Yeah. See, I think what we learned is that we have to organize. I used to come from the trade union movement, and I know that the trade union movement start from issues, from problems. We have to learn the other way around. Of course, we know the problems is there, but we have to learn how to organize these home-based workers from the positive energies of themselves, of their leaders, of their fellow workers, of their trust in the collective action and collective power. We identified that community-based organization at that time were really a very good support for these workers, these women in the community. And we try to work very closely with them, educate them to see that these women are not just poor women. You are not just only the poor women, but you are also workers. And I think this is something that I learned a lot from the trade union movement before I joined, before I started HomeNet Thailand. Secondly, we also have to try to work with other vulnerable people's movement the people's movement, it's so called, but we're focusing on vulnerable people also, just like us, because they also have the same needs and they have the same issues on not protected, not covering by any social scheme, and have to fight for their rights, fight for their visibility, and so on. So we identify that we have to work with migrant workers, disabled people, minorities, and through that we really achieve a lot in terms of the universal health care. And we also were able to kind of share with them who we are, as home-based workers or as informal economy workers. So those are the lessons that I learned very briefly. In terms of the achievement over the 20 years, I must say that we really come a long way and we achieve a lot. The achievement, I cannot claim it because of myself, because I left in 2004. But I think a lot of the younger generation in HomeNet Thailand has really continued this struggle in the same way that we have kind of, founded our movement, that we are not only the social movement, we are also labor rights movement. We are also working on economic empowerment. We work on the rights-based issue and other social protection as well. The other achievement that I think we had contribute to was the we influence a lot of international organizations together with SEWA, together with WICO, to mainstream these informal economy issues in the movement. You can range it from all the UN agencies, UNDP, UN Women, and so on, and ILO in particular. They recognize the informal economy, and they try very hard. They try to really integrate the issue of informal economy in all the areas of work until today. And I think they have to learn a lot from the movement like WICO and SEWA at the beginning to start off this type of work. But I think nowadays it has really expanded so much and grown so much with all these technical people and experts in different fields, Now the challenge that I find, I identify, and I am thinking out loud now, that I saw the presentation yesterday on the organization that we belong to. We have different kind of names, we have co-op, we have federation, we have trade union, we have association, all are membership-based organization. And this is something that we always struggle, especially with the trade union organization, that okay, we cannot become a trade union, but would you accept the MBO? And what kind of MBO that would really be acceptable as, I would say, as equal as a trade union? Though we cannot do everything that the trade union did, but I think this is something that we still have to struggle on in the future. Secondly, we always faced with crisis. We had come across crisis after crisis. In HomeNet Thailand also came out from the crisis in 1997, the economic crisis in Southeast Asia. And we survived. Actually, we gained because they recognize us as vulnerable people who are affected by the crisis. Now, we also face a COVID crisis. And again, we also have to, we cannot just wait for help, but we have to demand for help. And every time we demand for something, we also achieve more. That's what I find that it's really challenging. It's difficult for our people. We don't want a crisis, but anyway, we also learn that from the crisis, we also have opportunity to gain something from the policy. So I think that's all I would like to say. And I think I really hope that, we will continue to strengthen our organization, our collective efforts, because we still have to achieve more. Thank you.